The most important thing is realizing that fundamentally you're a slave to an egotistical construction with either one. And the goal is to transcend that, even though your egotistical construction that you're feeding is societally rewarded, right? So that's a trap that you could really, really fall into. So the key is you need to go a little lower than that.
We are both fans of Charlie Houpert, and he says that when somebody asks you, what do? You have the opportunity to hook lots of different things in. So if someone was to ask you, why do you do what you do? What's the single thread that ties together all of the things that you do? What would you say there?
That's interesting. I feel like there's been like an evolution like throughout that, because just what I do, I guess it's like changed like over time. Because like now, like broadly speaking, like on the surface, like I make like YouTube, like fitness oriented videos, but I think that started when I was like 13 or 14 years old. Like I got into like weightlifting, and then I took a lot of pictures of my progress, made a transformation video, then ended up going viral. And then I just like started making a YouTube channel just with like my friends in the gym, just making random videos, like working out. And then I guess I started being more interested in making cinematic-ish like content and just making it more like, I don't know, sophisticated, like higher quality, like etc., like more artistic. And yeah, I guess I just enjoy making videos that I just enjoy making.
Do you wish sometimes that your entrance into the world of virality, social media, YouTube hadn't been so tightly defined based on the way that you look, the gym, or do you like integrate that as part of your history perfectly fine?
I'd say so. I mean, I'd say at an earlier point, maybe like years and years and years ago, it was to the point where there was like a, like I guess a slight like toxicity component to it, because the whole reason that I got into working out was because of like very like generic stereotypical insecurities, just being like extremely skinny, feeling all of that. And then as I started getting more and more progress in the gym, and then that obviously gave me like a self-esteem boost. I felt a lot better about myself. And then I would like take pictures. And then obviously when people take pictures, oftentimes they just want to like maximize it to get it, you know, best lighting, angles, etc. And then I got to a point where maybe like a few years into working out where I had just a decent bit enough of muscle to get pictures that look like semi-decent, right? But not in those pictures, like in real life, like without like a pump or whatever. I remember just like feeling like still like very like just like skinny and insecure. And then it was like a problem because even say like my senior year in high school, I remember I would just wear hoodies just all the time, because if you're wearing like a big baggy hoodie, you can't like exactly tell like the size of an individual.
Even though at this stage you're probably one of the biggest guys in school.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't like gargantuous or anything of the sort, but I definitely I look like a normal, reasonable human being with like an acceptable amount of like muscle tone, right? But still in my head there was like this crazy just distortion, body dysmorphia. And then eventually the way that transferred over into social media is it was like that thing just amplified even more in terms of just needing to look as good as I possibly could, like in
people
like pictures
are now
and videos.
scrutinizing you for it.
Yeah, so if like I take a picture with someone and then my physique didn't look like as good as like I thought it would, like in my own pictures that I would take, or just by myself in like particular curated environments, that would definitely wreak havoc on my well-being, and that was definitely suboptimal. But as more and more time went by, I feel like that general complex just naturally like dissolved, and there's been a bit more peace.
Where are you at now with, you know, because you're still, what, you're 24?
Just turned 25.
Right, okay. So you've been on the internet for longer than I have, despite being 10 years younger than me, right? Given the fact that you have had this long career from basically, when did that first video go viral? 17, 18?
What, the age that I was about 17.
Yeah. So, you know, a good chunk of time that you've spent with an awful lot of eyes on you on the internet. All of this has been based around the way that you look. You know, this is coming out the back end of the like aesthetic bro, like Jim's era type thing. How have you managed to dispense with, or how much have you managed to get rid of that body dysmorphia, that sense of your sense of self-worth being attached to the way that you look, your leanness, your size?
I think the way that dissolution happened, to whatever degree it has happened, was through just so many years on end, or such a prolonged period of time of just feeling such internal like discomfort and dissonance and just an overall sense of like discomfort in my actual day-to-day life, having to just like micromanage just my own like self-image of how I think I look, yada yada, this is that. And then it just got to the point where that was just so unsatisfying to operate in that way, that the more and more I would distance myself from that, like organically as a byproduct of like achieving a certain like understanding of how that makes me feel, then I would just notice it would just not feel that way anymore. But even like throughout the years, like at times I would have situations where I could just see my brain re-entering previous thought patterns that I did when I was like fully ensconced in that mindset. But back when I was fully ensconced in that mindset, that was literally my like reality as I was like having those thoughts and feelings. But now that previous thought pattern still exists, but it exists within a broader understanding, so that when it arises, I could just recognize its arisal, and then it'll just go away. And then just like, I don't know, at peace, or I like feel fine. Like there's like no like issues really. So I don't know. I didn't like necessarily implement like just like a strategic like plan, or like take any like steps, or like create, I don't know, like a mental hygienic discipline to do that. It just sort of just organically just happened after just like contemplation and stuff.